It was the day of my wedding. I stood on the altar, a stunning bride, $1 million gown, and adorned in expensive jewelry. Everyone called it the wedding of the century. But what was the essence of such an expensive wedding without the groom? Yes, I was alone at the altar. My fiancé Mark still hadn't shown up, leaving me mortified and embarrassed. The guests slowly began to mutter, and confusion spread throughout the large hall. I stared frantically at my parents and in-laws. Everyone was trying to reach Mark. Had something bad happened to him on his way here? Even Des, his best man, wasn't here yet. I bit my lip anxiously. It had been over 2 hours and still no show. The priest was getting impatient, and the caterers wore annoyed expressions on their faces. The venue had been rented out to another family for their daughter's birthday party, which would start soon. I couldn't stand it anymore. Just as I was about to end this humiliation, Des, Mark's best man, burst in, panting like he had ran a marathon. Relief surged through me, for a while at least. Mark wasn't behind him. Had something truly happened? Ignoring everyone's questions, he walked straight up to me and whispered something into my ear. In that second, my heart dropped. But I regained my composure, wore a bright smile, and said calmly to crowd, "Thank you everyone for coming, but the ceremony has been cancelled. Sorry for any inconvenience caused." A gasp followed by murmurs of disbelief echoed through the hall. My stepmom Aggie rushed towards me. "Kelly, what's wrong? Did something happen to Mark?" The same question echoed by the rest of my family and friends who had rushed up to me followed. I shook my head and smiled.
"No, he's all right.
"I'm going to see him. I'll be back." My sloppy attempt to assure them left everyone more anxious and confused. Ignoring the rest of their questions, I walked out of the wedding hall and hailed a taxi, getting in before they could catch up. "Take me to Francis Hospital." I spoke to the driver after fastening my seatbelt. I was glad he didn't ask why a bride with such a nice gown had rushed out of her wedding and was heading to the hospital. I closed my eyes for a bit, listening to the soft tunes from the radio. By the time I got there, the searing pain I felt in my heart had cooled. What was left was rage and disbelief. At the reception, I asked for the room number of the patient. The receptionist looked at me with a questioning look on her face. In fact, everyone did. It's not every day you see a fully dolled-up bride in a hospital. "Room 299 upstairs," her voice barely audible. I could tell she wanted to say more, but I walked away with a nod before she could open her mouth again. I stood in front of the door, gripping the handle tightly. This part of the hospital lacked the chloroform scent that usually lingered around hospitals. Of course it didn't. It was the luxury ward. Only the best for her, as usual. I heard the faint sounds of laughter on the other side of the door. With one more deep breath, I opened the door. Mark sat at the edge of the hospital bed, peeling oranges and feeding them to the frail and delicate woman on the bed, visibly excited. He was in his wedding suit, except he looked disheveled and the top buttons were undone. Camila was the first to notice me, her face immediately contorting. Mark followed her gaze, and his eyes landed on mine. There was just about a minute of silence before he shot up and trudged towards me. "Kelly, you." His voice trailed off. He seemed to notice I was in my wedding dress. It was then that the realization dawned on him, then guilt and embarrassment flushed his cheeks. He had missed our wedding, the one we had planned for years on end. He had left me, and everyone confused and hurt. He looked at me guiltily and held my arm gently. Seeing Mark's slight display of affection towards me, Camila stood up quickly, falling to the ground almost immediately, and began to crawl towards me. Mark shoved me aside absent-mindedly and rushed to pick her up, gently placing her back on the bed. "Camila, what are you doing? You're still too weak." Her expression was grim and apologetic, making his heart twist with pain. "Please, Kelly, don't blame Mark. He just wanted to, dash." Mark didn't let her speak before he spoke out in her stead. "Kelly, don't be mad. It's just that Camila almost committed suicide, so I had to rush her to the hospital. I completely forgot to call you. Don't blame her. I couldn't just let her die. After all, saving a person's life is more important than a simple wedding, right?" "A simple wedding?" My voice trailed, anger slowly building up in my chest. So, he had left me standing alone at the altar, his entire family worried, sick, and millions of dollars of wedding preparations down the drain to rush over to his first love side the moment he heard she was in danger? "You've got to be kidding me." I burst out in anger. "Do you have any idea how horrified I was during the ceremony, or how your family and mine will have to explain to all the guests we invited that you won't be coming to the wedding? It was supposed to be the best day of my life. I had planned it to the latter for ages. Only for you to bail on me in front of everyone. Are you even human? How could you possibly do this to me?" Tears streamed down my face, and my head hurt like hell. I couldn't understand why he would pull a stunt like this today.